Did she just spill her drink? How embarrassing. Poor Kang Joon-seok. The glass shattered against the polished marble floor, and every head in the room turned at once to stare at the black woman in the plain dress standing next to Kang Joon-seok, the most feared man in Seoul. Did she just spill her drink? Someone whispered, loud enough for half the room to hear. How embarrassing. But Amara didn't bend down to pick up the glass. She didn't rush to apologize. She didn't panic. She just smiled. Because she knew something they didn't. Something that would change everything. Besties, before we continue, let me ask you a question. Have you subscribed to our channel? If not, please do so to help this channel build a strong community and tell us where you are watching from in the comments section. 3 months earlier, Kang Joon-seok had done the unthinkable. He had taken his housemaid on a date. No announcement. No warning. No explanation. Just him stepping into the kitchen one evening, sleeves rolled up, white shirt spotless, black slacks perfectly pressed, his silver watch catching the light as he asked her calmly, "Would you like to have dinner with me?" The house had gone silent. The staff froze. The guards looked away. And Amara stood there in her plain uniform, hands folded, eyes steady. "On a date?" she asked. "Yes," Kang Joon-seok said. "With me." There was no smile on his face, no teasing, no charm, just certainty. She studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Only if you don't talk about money, power, or your businesses," she said. For the first time in years, Kang Joon-seok laughed. The news didn't break that night. But when it did, Seoul lost its mind. How could the man who controlled half the city's underground be seen with a foreign housemaid? No elite background. No famous family. No social media history. Just Amara. The woman who cleaned his floors. Served his meals. Wore the same flat shoes every single day. Headlines exploded across gossip blogs. Business tabloids whispered. Crime forums raged. The Mafia king loses his mind. Housemaid traps crime lord. Foreign nobody climbs too high. They called her everything. A leech. A pawn. A mistake. But Kang Joon-seok didn't care. He had noticed her long before anyone else did. The first time was when she corrected his Korean. Quietly, respectfully. He had been speaking English on the phone when she passed by, and when he hung up she said softly, "Sir, that word you used, it means surrender, not agreement." He stared at her. "You speak English?" he asked. "And French," she added. "And Italian. And Mandarin." "Why are you working here?" he asked that night. "Because I like order," she said. "And I like learning. And this house has both." He started calling her in during meals. Asking questions. Testing her. She never showed off. Never rushed. And when he asked her to dinner, she agreed. Only if he promised not to talk about power. For the first time in his life, Kang Joon-seok talked about books. History. Ideas. 6 months later, she was no longer just his housemaid. She was his partner. And now, 3 months into that choice, Amara stood beside him in the Grand Baekryong Hall, the most exclusive private venue in Seoul. This wasn't just a gala. It was where politicians bowed. Crime families negotiated. And reputations were destroyed. Every powerful figure in the city was there. And they were all staring at her. "Is that what she's wearing?" a woman in diamonds murmured. "I wouldn't be caught dead in that." Amara's dress was simple. Black. Elegant. Unadorned. No jewelry. No labels. Kang Joon-seok leaned slightly toward her. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Amara said. But her heart was pounding. She had known this night would be hard. Joon-seok had warned her. His world was cruel. His people were predators. But she had agreed to come anyway. Because she loved him. And because she had a plan. The evening began with cocktails. Amara stood beside him, while men who had ordered deaths with a nod looked at her like she was dirt on his shoes. Kang Joon-seok, a voice cut through the air. A tall woman stepped forward. Red lips. Sharp eyes. Perfectly dressed. Seo Min-kyung. Old money. Crime royalty. "I didn't realize you were bringing staff," she said, smiling. "This is my partner, Joon-seok replied. Her smile stiffened. Oh, how interesting. She looked Amara up and down. You must be very proud, landing a man like him, she said. Like winning the lottery, isn't it? Amara smiled politely. Something like that. Seo Mingkyung laughed sharply. Enjoy it while it lasts. She walked away, heels clicking like gunshots. They were seated at the main table. Crime financiers. Arms dealers. Politicians. Amara sat quietly. So, a man across from her said, what exactly do you do? I manage a household, Amara replied. He blinked. How quaint. It's honest work, Amara said. Of course, he replied. But it must be quite an adjustment. From cleaning floors to sitting here. What did you bring to this arrangement? He continued. I mean, Kang Joon-seok could have anyone. The table went quiet. Joon-seok's jaw tightened. That's enough, he said. But Amara touched his arm. It's all right. She looked at the man calmly. I brought myself. Laughter rippled. She smiled and took a sip of water. Because she knew. She knew what was coming. After dinner, the speeches began. Kang Joon-seok stood at the podium. He spoke about reform. About education. About control without cruelty. Then he said, this year, we are launching a global education initiative. And I am proud to say, it was designed by someone very special. He turned toward her. My partner, Amara. The room froze. She designed it, someone whispered. She doesn't even belong here. Amara's stomach dropped. This wasn't part of the plan. But she stood anyway. She walked to the podium. Legs steady. Eyes calm. She took a breath. And she spoke. Thank you. I know many of you are surprised to see me here. I know I don't look like I belong. I grew up with nothing. No power. No protection. But I learned something early. Knowledge is free if you're willing to work. The room was silent. I taught myself languages because I wanted to understand the world. Not to impress anyone. This program is for children who are invisible. Children like I was. Because a book can change a life. She stepped back. Applause erupted. Real applause. And the night was just beginning. The applause didn't fade politely. It didn't soften or dissolve into murmurs. It grew. Hands that had signed death warrants. Hands that had shaken presidents' hands. Hands that had never applauded anyone but themselves. Were clapping for her. Amara stepped away from the podium slowly. Her face calm. Her posture straight. But inside her chest, her heart was racing. She hadn't planned to speak tonight. Not like that. Kang Joon-seok was watching her from the front row. His expression is unreadable to everyone else. But she knew that look. Pride. Relief. And something sharper. Vindication. The room shifted. You could feel it. The way conversations paused. The way eyes followed her. The way people leaned closer instead of away. The narrative had cracked. And then it broke completely. As the crowd dispersed into smaller circles, the real business of the night began. This was the hour where alliances were tested. Where power moved hands quietly. Where deals were whispered. Seo Mingkyung found Amara near the drinks table. That was quite a speech, she said. Her voice is smooth. Too smooth. Very inspiring. Thank you, Amara replied. But let's be honest, Seo continued. You can give all the speeches you want. You'll never really be one of us. Amara smiled. You're right. Seo blinked. I'll never be like you, Amara said. I'll never measure my worth by fear. Or my value by how small I make other people feel. Seo's face hardened. How dare you? Excuse me, a voice interrupted. Fluent French. Seo turned, startled. The French liaison stepped forward. His attention was fixed on Amara. Your pronunciation earlier, he said. It was flawless. Amara nodded politely. Thank you. Before Seo could recover, another voice joined. This time Mandarin. A Chinese investor speaking rapidly. Amara responded effortlessly. then Italian, then English. Each conversation seamless, natural, unforced. The room went quiet again. Not shocked quiet. Reverent quiet. People stopped pretending not to watch. This woman, this housemaid, this nobody, was navigating the most dangerous room in Seoul. Without breaking a sweat, Seo Mingkyung stood frozen. No one was looking at her anymore. Kang Joon-seok observed from across the room, his hands clasped behind his back. Gregory Park approached him slowly. "You planned this," he said. Joon-seok didn't answer. "You let them mock her. You let them think." "I wanted to see who you were," Joon-seok said calmly. "Who you really were when power wasn't watching." Gregory swallowed. "I was wrong," he said. "I apologize." "You weren't wrong," Joon-seok replied. "You were cruel. And cruelty is expensive." The deal between them, worth $50 million, died before midnight. Word spread quickly. Barbara hand found Amara moments later. "I had no idea," she said nervously. "If I'd known you were so educated." Amara tilted her head. "So you only respect people once they prove something." Barbara flushed. "I just meant, kindness doesn't require credentials," Amara said. "It requires character." Barbara had nothing to say. By the end of the night, the whispers had changed. "Did you hear her Mandarin? She didn't just speak it, she commanded it." "Joon-seok didn't choose poorly," someone muttered. "He chose brilliantly." They stood together, near the balcony, soul glowing beneath them. "Did you plan all of this?" Joon-seok asked quietly. "Not everything," Amara admitted. "But I knew they'd underestimate me." He smiled faintly. "You let them. I needed them too." He took her hand. "Gregory's empire will feel this tomorrow," he said. "So will anyone else who disrespected you. They'll call you reckless." "Let them," she replied. "I'd rather be feared for the right reasons." The next morning, Seoul woke up to chaos. Every headline carried her name. The woman beside the king. The housemaid who outplayed the elite. The quiet architect of a global initiative. Photos of her speech. Clips of her speaking 5 languages. Analysis, threads dissecting her background. And then the letter arrived. Handwritten. "Careful. I saw you on the news. I'm like you. People laugh at me because I have nothing. But now I want to learn. Now I believe I can." Amara read it twice. Then she wrote back. "You were always enough. Keep learning. Come see me if you need a book." 6 months later, the initiative launched. 12 countries. Millions of children. Every book carried a dedication. For the ones they overlooked. Seo Mingkyung lost 3 positions. Gregory lost his reputation. Amara never commented. A year later, she and Joon-seok sat in their library. Books everywhere. Fire low. "Do you regret it?" he asked. "Not for a moment. Because they taught me something. That my worth isn't theirs to decide." He reached for her hand. And the city kept moving. Unaware that the most powerful woman in Seoul had once been invisible. And chose never to forget it. The story didn't end that night. It only settled. Because power doesn't disappear. It rearranges itself. And in the weeks that followed, everyone in Seoul learned exactly where it now stood. The invitations changed first. The same people who had whispered, who had laughed, who had looked through Amara like she was air, now requested meetings, dinners, introductions. They wanted her opinion, her presence, her approval. She declined most of them. Not out of anger, not out of pride, but because she had never wanted their world. Only the space to exist on her own. Kang Joon-seok watched it all quietly. "You don't enjoy this," he observed one evening. They sat at the long table in his private library. The same room where their first real conversations had happened. Books lining the walls. Fire low. City lights beyond the windows. "Enjoy what?" Amara asked. "Being right." She considered that. "No," she said. "I enjoy being free." The media tried to frame her. First as a weapon, then as a mastermind, then as a myth. But none of it fit. She still woke early, still read every morning, still worked on the education program personally, line by line, language by language. She refused to let others speak for her. When asked how it felt to rise so quickly, she answered simply, "I didn't rise. You just finally looked." The Global Education Initiative expanded faster than anyone expected. 12 countries became 15, then 20. Local libraries, digital access, language exchange programs. Every contract was reviewed by Amara. Every curriculum checked. She insisted on one rule. No child would be asked where they came from, only where they wanted to go. One afternoon, another letter arrived. This one from Nigeria. A photo enclosed. A classroom. Children holding books. "We read together every day," the teacher wrote. "They say they want to be like her." Amara held the letter for a long time. Kang Joon-seok didn't interrupt. She never cried in front of crowds. Never showed emotion where it could be used. But here, in this room, she allowed herself a quiet breath. "They're not trying to be like me," she said. "They're trying to be themselves. And that's enough." His mother called shortly after. The call came unexpectedly. A pause on the line. A breath. "I was wrong," she said. Amara listened. "I thought you were a risk. A weakness. Something temporary. But my son has never been stronger." "Resentment is heavy," Amara replied gently. "It only hurts the one carrying it." There was silence. "Thank you," the woman said. They never became close. They didn't need to. Forgiveness didn't mean access. Seo Mingkyung tried to apologize. Sent flowers. Letters. Requests. Amara never responded. Some people don't deserve your energy. Gregory Park vanished quietly. His name became a warning. Not a legacy. No one ever laughed about housemaids again. 1 year after the gala, the city moved as it always had. Loud. Vast. Hungry. And inside a quiet home on the hill, Amara and Kang Joon-seok sat across from one another. Books open. Tea cooling between them. "Do you ever think about that night?" he asked. "Sometimes." "What do you remember?" She smiled faintly. The sound of the glass breaking. And how quiet it became afterward. He watched her. "You never tried to be impressive." She closed her book. "Because I didn't need them to believe in me. I already did." He reached for her hand. "That's why they never stood a chance." They sat there. Two people from different worlds. Not saved. Not rescued. Chosen. Outside, the city kept moving. Still judging. Still underestimating. But Amara no longer noticed. She had spent her whole life being overlooked. Being measured incorrectly. Being told she was too small. And she never believed it. That was her power. Not the languages. Not the influence. Not the man beside her. But the certainty that she was enough. Long before anyone else agreed. If this story stayed with you, if it reminded you of something buried, something quiet, something strong, remember this. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need approval to matter. The world will try to define you, box you, limit you. Let it. Because one day, without raising your voice, without changing who you are, they'll realize they underestimated the wrong person. And by then, you won't need them to notice at all. Thank you for staying. See you in the next story.